Virginia Democrats. Thank you. Wow, what a great night. Don't I have a fantastic wife? I mean, I want to thank Ann so much. We have been partners for 33 and a half years, every day, living, loving, learning, raising three wonderful, beautiful children together in the vineyard to try to make Virginia more progressive. It makes us feel so good to see all of you here in our hometown of Richmond. Thank you so very, very much. It is the night before Father's Day. I think about my own dad, Al, 83 years old. I think about Ann's dad, Linwood, 94 years old. I think about my three beautiful children. Can I ask everyone in this room, in your mind's eye, can you put a picture of your father? For the fathers in the room, in your mind's eye, can you put a picture of your kids? Not everybody has great relationships with their dad. So put a picture of your mother or your grandparents or people who, when you were young and needed to learn from an adult, they were the people who raised you, who taught you, who loved you, who cared for you. Put that picture in your mind's eye. Because we have a president right now who is tearing apart families who are coming to seek refuge in this country. On the night before Father's Day, that's what this nation has come to with this president. Will you do everything you can to fight back against a president who wants to tear families apart? Is there any doubt that if these children had light skin and were speaking English, that they wouldn't be loaded into cells and rooms in a windowless Walmart in the hundreds and the thousands on the southern border of this country? If you wonder whether the stakes are high in 2018, I'm here to tell you, Virginia Democrats, that the stakes are high and we have to do our best work. I so appreciate you, my Virginia Democratic family. We've worked together since I moved here in 1984, and you've been incredibly supportive since I started into office running for city council in a ward just a mile or so west of here. To all my Richmond friends, to all my friends from all over the Commonwealth, Ann and I could not be more thankful and could not be more humbled by how kindly you've treated us in the last 24 years. And I'm here tonight to ask for your help one more time, and I'm also here to introduce a fantastic friend that I've encouraged to come and be with our Virginia Democratic family. We've got a lot to be proud of. You've heard of it tonight. The Virginia Democrats who've had a difficult time in the past, when I started, we've now won 10 statewide races in a row. We've now won 4 of the last 5 governorships. We've now won electoral votes the last 3 times. Last November, we gave the nation a hope injection in a difficult time in the aftermath of that shocking and controversial election in 2016. In the aftermath of the brutal white supremacist rally in Charlottesville in August of 2017, all of us, we stood together in Virginia. We stood up for equality and progress and elected these great statewide candidates that you've heard from, and 15 new members of the House of Delegates who are as diverse as Virginia is. You did that. The nation thanks you for doing that. But it wasn't about elections. After the election, we did what Democrats do. We used our success to help people. You've heard it with the momentum We broke the back of opposition to health care and worked together to make sure that 400,000 working people, many of whom have never had health insurance in their lives, now have it or will have it in months to come because of Virginia Democrats. And those 400,000 aren't just Democrats. They're independents and Republicans, because as Democrats, we watch out for everybody in need, whether they vote for us or not. Red county, blue county, voter, non-voter, young, old, we're going to watch out for them. In 2018, we have the same opportunity before us. We can be at our best and win House seats with our 4 great incumbents, with our 7 great challengers, 6 of whom are women. We can move forward to make sure that Virginia keeps on the path to progress, innovation, and equality. And if we do our best in Virginia, we can be part of a great movement that will take the House back, that will win the Senate, and that we can stop playing defense in Washington and go on offense for progressive values in tune with us and in tune with our country. And when we win those elections in November, that will pave the way for accomplishments just like the elections last November did. You know, I've been on a lot of ballots. This is my 10th race. In this race, Ann and I started in January, the first weekend, single-digit temperatures. We went to the reddest parts of the state, Farmville to Bristol and Bristol to Stanton, and we saw crowds like we have never seen in 24 years of state politics. And that has continued from that first weekend to now. That same energy I see in this room, I'm seeing all over the Commonwealth. Everywhere I go, I talk about a positive vision of a Virginia that works for all. We need jobs for all, and that's good wages, the ability to collectively bargain, infrastructure, support for small businesses. We need health care for all. We've got to protect the Affordable Care Act from the Trump sabotage. We've got to expand Medicaid and Medicare. I've got a program, Medicare X, that would enable anybody in this country to buy a Medicare policy to bring their costs down. We need to set a goal of being addiction-free by 2030 to stop the war that we are losing every year. 65,000 Americans every year, more than we lost in the entire Vietnam War, are succumbing to a war against hopelessness and despondency. If we care, we can end it. If we care, we can be addiction-free by 2030. We need to have a clean environment that promotes health, and that means no offshore drilling off the coast of Virginia. We need to have education for all. That means career and technical education, apprenticeship and trades, affordable college. We shouldn't be living in a nation that can pass a tax bill increasing the national debt by $1.5 trillion, but saddling our children with mountains and mountains of debt to get higher education. We shouldn't do that. We've got to make sure that our teachers are supported, not with guns, but with salary and resources and respect. We need security for all, reducing gun violence, supporting law enforcement with the right investments like mental health and substance abuse treatment, because that's what they're dealing with on the streets of our communities. We need to stand for our military. We've got to make sure that we never go to war unless Congress has the guts to have a vote on it in this country. And finally, we need immigration. We need equality for all. That means immigration reform, full equality for LGBTQ, equal pay for women, women having full access to reproductive health care, women being free from sexual assault, sexual violence in the workforce or in their lives, criminal justice reform. This is my vision of Virginia that works for all, and it's what I've been doing in 24 years as an elected official, listening to people. When our vets and our military spouses told us that our unemployment rate was too high and they were suffering, I wrote legislation and got legislation passed in the Senate to bring down unemployment among military spouses and vets. When our young students at UVA complained about sexual assault, we wrote a bill together, the Teach Safe Relationships Act, to educate students on proper behavior and consent and where to go for help to bring down sexual assault among young people. And it's not just about solving Virginia problems, it's also about taking Virginia ingenuity to Washington and trying to do more of it. Innovative strategies to engage in shipbuilding, career and technical academies that are across Virginia, being across the United States, recovery home strategies to battle addiction. Virginia has some of the most innovative ideas in the country, thanks to our governors, Governor Northam, Governor McAuliffe, Governor Warner, and we've got to do more of them at the federal level. I am confident that my positive vision of Virginia that works for all will carry the day, and it's a clear contrast with my opponent. I'm not going to say the name of my opponent in this speech, because in a few minutes I'm going to introduce a good Corey, and I don't want anybody to be confused. My opponent in this race says his goal is to run the most ruthless and vicious campaign that Virginia has ever seen. Is that what Virginia needs? Is that what the Senate needs? My opponent wants to slash Medicaid and take health insurance away from tens of millions of people by repealing the Affordable Care Act. Is that what Virginia needs? Is that what the Senate needs? My opponent says he will only support judges who want to overturn Roe versus Wade. Is that what Virginia needs? Is that what the Senate needs? My opponent wants to eliminate the Department of Education, and he has a track record of underfunding public schools. Is that what Virginia needs? Is that what the Senate needs? My opponent calls climate change a hoax. Is that what Virginia needs? Is that what the Senate needs? My opponent is fine with tax cuts for corporations, but has a record of raising taxes repeatedly on regular people and families. Is that what Virginia needs? Is that what the Senate needs? My opponent has been at the helm of a county government, and under his leadership, they've had record foreclosures, saw the highest unemployment rate in 20 years, and his divisiveness has made businesses avoid the county, hurting jobs and opportunity for the great citizens of Prince William County. Is that what Virginia needs? Is that what the Senate needs? My opponent has demonized and bashed immigrants throughout his career instead of recognizing the hard work and values that new Americans bring to our diverse and growing state. Is that what Virginia needs? Is that what the Senate needs? My opponent was so wacky that President Trump's campaign fired him as their campaign manager, and the Koch brothers, even the Koch brothers, refused to support him. Is that what Virginia needs? Is that what the Senate needs? And of course, my opponent likes to praise and encourage white supremacists, those who organize hate-filled rallies like the tragedy in Charlottesville and perpetrate online filth and anti-Semitism. This week, the American press was filled with stories about his bizarre connections to spreaders of hate, and Israeli newspapers were filled with articles about his ties to notorious anti-Semites. Is this who Virginia is in 2018? Is this what the Senate needs? We are a Commonwealth, and that means we are a community. We believe in equality. We are a state for lovers, not a state for haters. And I ask for your help to return to the Senate so that these true Virginia values can continue to take this state forward and help lead the nation to better days. So let's press ahead. Let's do all we can to win big up and down the ballot in November. We need to send a clear message about who Virginia is and who Virginia isn't. And with your help, we'll send that message. I'll return to the Senate. We'll elect these great House candidates. We will take back Democratic control of the House and take back Democratic control of the Senate. Are you ready to do that, Virginia, in 2018? It is now